supposed to be open. Once it's supposed to be open too.
I imagine.
Up and on.
Welcome to the April meeting of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Tickenen,
Here.
Commissioner Fairman,
Present.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson, here, Commissioner Brits.
Here.
Thank you. We have a full quorum. Next are the approval of the minutes for the March 10th regular meeting.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Jensen, supported by Commissioner Anderson to approve the March 10th minutes. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the agenda that's prepared and in your packet. Are there any revisions or additions?
I just have I have one on 5, instead of adding the 5B and then just put Kevena indivisible letter as well. We had the Copper Country Republican Party letter, and then the sheriff emailed all of us that letter today. And so just acknowledging that letter is received by the board. So with that addition, that's the only one I had.
Any further additions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by, was that Commissioner Brits?
Yes.
To approve the agenda, the amended agenda with the addition of 5B, the Kevena indivisible letter. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we invite public comments. These are relegated to agenda items only. If I may suggest, for those wishing to speak on the subject of which is actually covered by item 5, I'm only suggesting that the sheriff is going to address us about this circumstance, and perhaps your comments might be more well-tailored if you wait until the second public comments, but that's entirely up to you. Without further ado, please, we'd love to hear from you. Are there any public comments relegated to agenda items? Please, and we do kindly request that you address us from the podium. It's not for our convenience, it's for the convenience of those in attendance as well as on Zoom. Thank you.
No, well, there's more than usual.
Okay, good evening. My name is Teresa. I'm a proud member of the Copper Country Republican Party. I wanted to add my full support to the letter Sheriff Dan Holcomb and the party sent to Sheriff Sarden. Sheriff Sarden is a constitutional sheriff who is doing exactly what we elected him to do and is firmly grounding our decisions in his vote and the U.S. Constitution and Michigan Constitution, focusing on real public safety and keeping our law enforcement priorities based on law, not symbolic or non-binding resolutions. We appreciate the constructive discussions that have taken place, and we stand strongly with Sheriff Sarden's pragmatic, oath-driven leadership that puts safety and the well-being of all of Hope County residents first. Thank you, Sheriff, for your clear constitutional leadership. We will get back.
Thank you. Are there other public comments? Please.
My name is Richard Cannabis, resident of Fulton, Michigan, and local organizer for Individual. That said, I would like to speak as just a private citizen. Comment brief with regards to the agenda item number 5 and share letter support for Sheriff Doug Sargent's public letter. And a few minutes later on this evening, you will hear Sheriff Sargent's public statement with regards to the possibility of ICE operating their community, letters of response from the Cox Country Republican. There's a lot of potential for good to happen when we try to put aside our own partisanship to reach out to communities most vulnerable people. People like you and me want to live, work, and play here. People who should be welcomed here as a part of what makes us us. The sense of vulnerability has been heightened by ICE. We all know the destruction in this sort of places not too far over distant from us in the country. The shared letter is an opportunity for us all to be better. Citizens, commissioners, and local law enforcement. The challenge brutality ICE represents to hold them accountable if they come here, support all of our people over allegiance to a federal paramilitary. I also consider this statement a call to action to all of those who here to build up robust connections to those who are absolutely in fear. All we can, how you can, know their needs. And should the time come, know how we can stand together in a way that is in line with the vision of the community that they want to be part of. I'm here to ask our law enforcement and our elected officials to stand with us and reaffirm that commitment. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Heather Mraz. I am a Houghton County resident and I live in Portage Township. I'm part of the leadership team for QAnon Indivisible and I work in public education as a behavior specialist. I'm speaking tonight as a private citizen. Tonight, you're going to hear about work over the past several weeks to clarify the role of local law enforcement in relation to federal immigration enforcement. QAnon Indivisible's goal in bringing forward the resolution that initiated this work was to make that role clear and accessible to the public. By providing a public way to communicate that goal has been met. In my work as a behavior specialist, I look at how the environment around people shapes their behavior. When expectations are clear, people are more likely to engage. When expectations are not clear, people hesitate or pull back. The same pattern applies at the community level. When people do not know what local law enforcement will and will not do, they fill in the gaps themselves. For some, that means assuming a worst case scenario. That can lead to withdrawal from systems that are meant to support them and keep them safe. Clarity interrupts that pattern. When people stay engaged with services and law enforcement, our entire community is safer. Thank you to Sheriff Sargent and to the Board of Commissioners for creating the space to bring this forward publicly and ensure the community has clear information about how local law enforcement operates here. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Other public comments? Are there any on Zoom? Are there any other public comments? We'll move on. Next is the approval of the bills totaling $1,561,041.22. Do we have a recommendation from our finance committee?
Motion to approve for $1,561,041.22.
And I second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Keranen, supported by Commissioner Anderson to approve the bills. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Kiernan.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tickenen.
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen. Yes. And Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item H, the reports from commissioners. Commissioner Jensen.
Sure, we have a long agenda, I'll keep this short. Houghton Keweenaw Conservation District's tree sale, plants, trees, shrubs, et cetera, is, their catalog is now online. And there are some flyers up here, if anybody's interested, there's a like a QR code to access their catalog. And it's basically when an item is ordered online, that's taken off the inventory. So if there's anything left, that's what you can purchase, and anything that's, you know, I guess, go quickly before they run out of what they have. So anyway, that's, and then they deliver early May. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Karen and
Everything I have is on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, so, and I talked to our Kurt Judson today, and he's on the job, and he's asked him how he's doing, he said, I'm doing well, so.
that's good
He's on the
news.
road to better recovery, but he's at work and things are well, so.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Britz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also have a very short one, just kudos to a couple of our high schools that I don't think they recognized last month. Houghton Gremlins won the state championship in hockey. The Dollar Bay boys basketball team went to the state semifinals. The Calumet girls went to the regionals. Michigan Tech men's basketball team went to the Elite Eight nationally. That was pretty impressive. I think they lost again and I believe won the national championship. And then I see our new finance manager is not here, but I'll throw it out to him. He's from Ishpeming. The Ishpeming girls won the state championship this year. So I'll give him a little pat on the back for that one.
Thank you. Commissioner Anderson.
Two things. One, I did pass out just for the commissioners, a little flyer on the Copper Country Intermediate School District, the CTE program. It's up for a millage renewal on May 5th in Keweenaw, Houghton, and Baraga counties. It is just a renewal and it's for 0.9797 mils, so just under 1 mil, and it's a renewal. And that would be for a 10-year period if that's approved by the voters in those three counties. So I did want to remind people of that. And then for those of us who either voted for the marijuana legalization in Michigan or did not, I call it the gift that keeps on giving. Houghton County in 2025, we received the distribution in February of this year. The county received $324,102 for the 6 licenses that are in Houghton County, 4 in the city of Houghton and 1 in Torch Lake Township, 1 in Portage Township. So again, whether you like it or not, we certainly are doing well on the financial side. So I just wanted to highlight that as I did last year too. So that's what I got.
Thank you. My report is largely covered by the agenda, similar to Commissioner Kiernan. I did want to follow Commissioner Britt's lead though and congratulate the Calumet Copper Kings robotics team, who was runner-up in the UP competition and will be heading downstate for the state competition. So kudos to all of our fine educational system institutions here. We'll move on then to department reports. Sheriff, anything to share?
Our inmate population over the last couple of days has been overcrowded. We're currently at 31 inmates sold in our jail right now today. I don't anticipate it going down for another couple of days. In the interest of time, I will wait until the agenda items.
Thank you. Deputy Clerk, anything to relay from your department?
Nothing to relay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Administrator, fifth floor.
I would like to report that we are finally fully staffed. We hired for our finance manager as well as our deputy finance manager this week.
And they both have started?
They both started Monday.
Very good. Thank you. Anything from the equalization department Mr. Jerf?
It's covered in the agenda.
Very good. Are there other departments here?
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Todd. And I think we've covered that base adequately. We'll move on to item I, which is unfinished business. First is a resolution number 26-02 supporting House Bills 5152 and 5153, which were tabled from the regular meeting in March. And this is, why was it tabled?
We still had some typos on the paperwork that was given to us.
I see.
Yeah.
Very good. I was not in attendance that last month. So what is your wish?
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 26-02, supporting House Bills 5152 and 5153.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Jensen and supported by Commissioner Anderson to adopt resolution number 26-02. Is there further discussion?
Who forwarded this resolution to us? Do we know?
I believe it came from our county clerk.
Okay. And being that we have two realtors on this board, I guess the question I have is when you're being foreclosed upon, that means you're not making your payments?
That's correct, but this has nothing to do with people not being foreclosed on. It's predatory practices by other not the lender. It could be someone approaching the homeowner and taking advantage of that person's situation because they are in foreclosure.
Outside.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that person not paying. It's about predators trying to take advantage of people in that situation. And it would prevent the signing. Where's that? Whereas.
Oftentimes people are under duress and ill-advised or under-informed, and these third parties will show up. There are professionals engaged in that activity.
Yeah, right, they'll pay you $100 for, and then kind of you sign off your right to, like if there's a tax sale and there's proceeds made, you're basically signing off that that other person can have them. And there's an example, I don't know if it's in this. Yeah, here it is. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Whereas an elderly heir was paid $100 to sign away her rights to over $10,000 in known surplus proceeds. So it doesn't have to do with the lenders themselves. It has to do with third-party creditors.
Good question. Good discussion. Further discussion? I'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Jensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan,
Yes.
and Commissioner Brits.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2 is resolution number 26-07, support for bringing Amtrak service to the Upper Peninsula, which was also tabled from the March meeting. And is there, what's your feelings on this? Why was it tabled?
So this one, I think we tabled because we didn't have an actual resolution to approve. We just had the letter from Lewis, whatever his name was. Something like that.
All right.
Yeah, so it really prepared.
And we've had a resolution pop up since then from
County details.
Kalkaska for one. And is there support for this resolution?
Yes, so moved.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen. Is there further discussion?
I have a couple of comments about that. Just my own personal belief and feelings. My brother's a third generation railroad worker. I grew up all about the railroad and hearing about it from my grandfather, my father. I know this is a resolution coming to the Upper Peninsula, but being a representative of District 5 from Chassel Township, Portage Township, and I asked these questions during the conversation last month. And it's my understanding that they would use the existing railroad grade, which is now a snow mill or V trail. So it would come right along the parallel to Portage Lake and US 41 and through downtown Houghton, where Michigan Tech has invested quite a bit of money. The city of Houghton's invested a lot of money along the waterfront. And again, the properties that I represent along US 41 from Chassel, people have put a lot of money in building and fixing up their properties. I just want to explain why, what my feelings are on that, and I think I would be against what the residents of that in that area, if they came to Chassel and stopped there and put a roundhouse there or something, it'd be fantastic, you know. Anyway, but coming through along 41 and through downtown Houghton, I think it's an issue. So that's my opinion.
My thought is, and I like train travel myself, I mentioned that a couple meetings ago. I can't imagine Amtrak or any other company pouring that much money back into this area to create the rails again for the number of travelers that would come here. We're just too small, I think. So I don't, even if we passed a resolution like this and Amtrak was going to do it, I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime.
His part of his comment was I think maybe it was on our work session last month, that they would like to see it go all the way up to Calumet.
Yeah,
but I don't agree with you. I don't ever see it happening, but I think I have to protect the residents of District 5.
Absolutely.
I am struggling to stay on my best behavior being a resident of Calumet, a native resident who remembers trains running on a daily basis all the way from there to Chicago. But if I was along that railroad grade, I guess I would be a little nervous myself. But I think it's a positive effort. It demonstrates a belief in the future and take a positive stance. And in the event that Amtrak were to announce tomorrow that they were, or at any point in our lifetimes, that they were going to extend service to Calumet, Michigan, if that were to happen, by golly, I think we'd find a solution. You know, this is the greatest country in the world, and I think we're capable of solving issues such as that. Can always build another bridge too. So
I think the number Mr. Valens talked about was like $8 billion. I think they wanted to carve out, and I feel like if that's the case, $8 billion can be spent better elsewhere.
Well, the bottom line is, in the event that it demonstrates nothing more than our open-mindedness in the event that rail service were reestablished in a meaningful way to the UP. And as far as they get it, that's great. That's my opinion. Further comments?
So there's already issues with the trail between Houghton and Chassel because that is retained by the DNR. And so those property owners already have restrictions on the use of their land because of setbacks from that trail and other things. So I know, you know, if this ever did happen, that would just be like adding salt to the wound that's already there. But it is kind of already there. There already is that restriction on all of those properties. So.
And there was a lot of concern, frustration when the snowmobile trail was put in. about the machines going by at high rate of speed, the danger of it. Back in my days as the undersheriff, there was a lot of complaining about it and concerns for safety. And then a train going by, I'm sure they go by at a speed, but 15 feet from houses.
Right.
You know, they lived that years ago, they lived that way. And if I remember before that they talked about bringing rail into Chassel, outside of Chassel, where they built the sheds out there on the other side of Chassel, and bringing that for logs, for landing for logs, and that went down. And that would have been fantastic to save our roads, but that didn't go through either. So I just information for you.
Yeah. That's a touchy topic.
Well, individual property rights are sacred in America. I understand that. But on the other hand, those are recorded rail easements. They don't go away. And that at the inconvenience of individual property owners, sometimes those are overruled for the betterment of the overall community. Again, the likelihood of us having to wrestle with this is remote, but it's a good, healthy reminder that those rail easements remain in place and always have been. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan?
No.
Commissioner Brooks?
No.
Resolution passed, carries. Very good. Resolution number 26-04 to declare May 3rd through the 9th of 2026 International Compost Awareness Week to raise awareness of composting and recognize all who compost in Houghton County.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen to approve the resolution. Discussion.
Very cool.
That's right. We raise all our food up here, we won't have to ship it by rail. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution passes. Item number 4, resolution number 26-08. Opposing any legislation preempting local control for the construction of data centers and battery storage facilities. This was tabled also from March.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen to approve the resolution. Discussion. Sounds like we're all on the same page, maybe. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries, resolution passes. Item number 5, we'll call upon our Sheriff Saarinen. Welcome, Sheriff.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you all. I'll talk this direction too. I'm talking to those who have questions with this resolution and not only addressing the board. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate, number one, the sentiments, some of them that have already been shared. But I want to assure you that I give all the credit to these two groups that came together and our community as a country as a whole to work through some of these things. And I think listening, excuse me, to some of the comments already, you know, people do have a lot of questions of what law enforcement is doing and want to be as completely transparent as possible. Really the history of this, what it came down to is there's 2 resolutions that were potentially formed. Instead of these resolutions coming to the board, what we did was as a group, with 2 groups and myself facilitated a meeting, come together and really discuss what these resolutions mean to them And for me to be able to give an example or some examples of, as a law enforcement officer, as your chief law enforcement officer, what we do with the sheriff's office. That includes, of course, making sure that we're enforcing all the laws, keeping the public safe. And our relationship with our federal partners in the past, explaining those, because we have federal partnerships. Not necessarily ICE. We have federal grants that come in that don't meet the mission of what ICE is doing right now. ICE historically has tracked what we do in our jail facilities since its inception. That being partnership or not, they're involved. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, where those gaps needed to be filled were the questions of what else do we do? Because there's a lot of rumor and speculation throughout the media in the United States. A lot of good questions asked. Are deputies deputized by ICE to enforce federal immigration? We're not, and we're not going to be. Those are some of the big questions. We don't enforce administrative warrants. We're not a federal holding facility within the jail, but we will enforce any criminal action. If somebody is here illegally and they break the law, they'll be arrested just like anybody else will be and placed in our facility. And then where it goes from there. However, on the opposite side of that spectrum, there is concern about what's happening. And I took a step back after a couple of our meetings, our initial meetings, and I had to think, and this is just personally, not as only a sheriff, but I have legal immigrants in my family from the north and the south of the border, Canada and South America. I've got Finnish relatives that visit our county. And I want to make sure that they also feel safe here with what our law enforcement is doing, serving the citizens. So right now, if I've left anything out from the two groups, I'll read the statement that I read to the group, and this is a statement that I'm adopting. After I read it, I'll give it to the clerk. If anybody would like to have a copy of it or take a look at it, feel free to do so. Thank you for your correspondence regarding the proposed resolution addressing cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. As sheriff, I've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Michigan. That oath is not symbolic. It is a foundation that guides every decision that I make. My first responsibility is to the citizens of my county and those who travel through it. I take that responsibility very seriously. My focus remains on protecting public safety, enforcing the law, and ensuring that our resources are directed where they have the greatest impact on the community I was elected to serve. While I understand the intent of these resolutions, signing into a measure that carries no legal authority or binding effect does not enhance public safety. My responsibility is not to endorse symbolic actions, but to take meaningful steps that directly improve the safety and well-being of our community, all of us. Decisions regarding cooperation with federal authorities must be based on constitutional authority, operational realities, and the best interests of our county, not through non-binding resolutions. I will continue to fill my duties consistent with my oath and remain focused on championing the safety of the community that elected me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Questions? Questions? You have to be entertaining. Even if it's somebody that has a conflict. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yep.
Item number 6, jail committee final report.
Yeah, B and B. Mr. Chair.
Well, that's an acknowledgement. I do want to acknowledge we do have both letters received, not only from the Republican Party, but also the Kevina Indivisible letter.
Not to be argumentative, right? At the meeting, the sheriff, I did say that they would be able to read their letters at the board meeting, and they are on the agenda, so I have to say that they should be able to read.
Do you want to read your letters? Good, thanks for letting me know.
All right, thank you. First, I wanted to thank Sheriff Sergeant and Commissioner Branch for facilitating the meeting between the two parties regarding the opposing resolutions for ICE. I'll just keep it short and sweet. I'll read the letter for support and just a brief statement. On behalf of the Copper Country Republican Party, we express our strong support for your recent restatement on your oath of office and commitment to our community. You have clearly stated that your oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the Michigan Constitution is the foundation of every decision you make. We applaud your dedication to protecting public safety, enforcing the law, and directing resources where they have the greatest impact for the citizens of our county and those who travel through it. Your clear stance on non-binding resolution is both responsible and refreshing. As you noted, such symbolic measures carry no legal authority and do not enhance public safety. We agree that true leadership means focusing on meaningful actions grounded in constitutional authority, operational realities, and the best interest of the community. Decisions regarding cooperation with federal authorities must be based on the law and would actually serve the county's safety and well-being. Your statement demonstrates the pragmatic, driven leadership our community needs and deserves. The Copper Country Republican Party stands with Sheriff Sarnin, who prioritizes constitutional fidelity and real public safety. We commend your continued focus on championing the safety of the community that elected you, and we offer our full support as you carry out your duties. Please let us know how the Copper Country Republican Party can assist your efforts and keep communities safe. And just a brief statement. We are pleased that the Keelan Indivisible resolution and our opposing resolution was set aside for remediation through Sheriff Sarnin and Commissioner Britz. This allowed productive dialogue and revealed common ground. But let me be clear, the Copper Country Republican Party strongly supports lawful cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility under the Supremacy Clause. Local governments must not obstruct it with sanctuary-style policies. However, lawful cooperation through authorized information sharing and prioritized removal of criminal non-citizens strengthens public safety for all residents. Let us move forward, uniting our commitment to the Constitution, the rule of law, and real public safety for the residents of Hope County.
Thank you. Are you speaking? Okay.
Keelan Indivisible would like to thank Sheriff Sarnin for his words, and we express our support for the Sheriff's recent statement of commitment to community safety and the rule of law in our community. We would also like to say thank you to our colleagues in the Copper Country Republicans, whose fruitful discussions led to the common ground that we share in this letter of support. The common ground is this: we believe in the safety and security of all members of our community. We believed our original resolution clearly communicated this, which was its purpose. The sheriff heard us and worked to find a way we could accomplish its objectives, particularly given the responding resolution from the Copper Country Republicans. While we stand by every word in our original resolution, we accept that there are other ways to accomplish its objectives. Our objective is to communicate safety to all of our community members. We are driven by the conviction we all have a part to play in making our communities safe. We need all of us together to work as a community to battle the real ills and challenges our people face, which is violent crime, drug-related offenses, and other real threats to our safety, while allowing people to live, work, play, go to school, and otherwise be a part of our social fabric. And we believe this should be a calling to all of our community, regardless of immigration status. While resolutions are non-binding, they still matter as clear statements of how constitutional principles guide local practice. We grounded our resolution in constitutional principles, including Fourth Amendment protections, equal protection and due process, and well-established limits on requiring local governments to carry out federal enforcement. What is critical is our local law enforcement officials clarify their policies with regards to federal immigration enforcement, such as ICE. Specifically, they should clarify that they do not enforce immigration law because they do not act on administrative warrants. This means while our local law enforcement cannot interfere with federal immigration enforcement, they will not carry it out themselves. Furthermore, Sheriff Sarnin has made it clear it is his policy to be at the forefront of any attempted operations by federal agents in our communities, including ICE. And while we will continue to act within the law in response to agencies like ICE, We trust that Sheriff Sarnon will uphold his duty to ensure that his agencies do the same. Simply put, our local law enforcement is not a force for conducting immigration raids or deportation operations. This means all of us should feel comfortable and safe approaching a uniformed law enforcement officer to report crimes and share information. This means being able to go to school, find healthcare, live, work, and play in this community. It means this is true regardless of immigration status. Furthermore, those of us who feel threatened or frightened by what we're witnessing unfold in Minneapolis can have faith our local law enforcement will not be a part of bringing ICE-like operations to our community. Thank you to Sheriff Sarnon, the Board of Commissioners, and our colleagues in the Copper Country Republican Party for helping us make this statement in support of our community.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to item 6. That's the jail committee's final report. We've had 3 distinct groups working over the past month. And we've asked for them to report to the board at this meeting. We'll start with Commissioner Karenan's group.
I got word from, I think we all got it, but Adam Laughlin, the appraisal will be done on Canal View on 4/23 this month at 2:30 p.m. So my report is incomplete at this point. I'm just waiting for that bit of information. That's a big bit of information. So I have some stuff together, but I want to wait till I get that detail. And I will bring that next month's meeting, or I will forward it to the board when as soon as we get that. So I'm not sure how long it takes. We'll be there on the 23rd. So I don't know how quickly that happens as far as getting that back to us. But,
okay, but that's just the Canal View, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have recommendations or conclusions to offer on the marina or the transfer station?
It's in my report. I think the marina and the transfer station both are, and Glenn will attest to, you know, the marina, there's obviously the grants that we got over the many years, and some stipulations in there that kind of bind potentially a future buyer that may not make it the most profitable to run in the private sector. Also with the transfer station as well, you know, there's difficulties there as well. I mean, we have a list of pros and cons. I'm just giving you the cons right now. With transfer station, obviously, we're bringing all of our material to waste management, and we've seen how fluid the tipping fees and such are. So to you know, to offload that would be very you know, they all might be the same, but you know, we have an appraisal at transfer station from past couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think, Chelsea, I don't think we have the survey completed at the marina yet, correct? I think UP engineers will be doing that for us, or Hitch, UP?
I believe it's
Okay, so so those items, so when I get that, I you know, and we did talk about, not very much, but we did talk about the obviously the airport, you know, that was kind of a someone brought it to our attention saying, well, you can talk about that, and I said, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about, but I said, oh, it's something the county does own, but it's that's
all right. So at this point, is it the committee's conclusion or recommendation that the county should retain ownership of the marina and the transfer station?
I would say that the cons outweigh the pros as far as that, you know, and the Canal View, I mean, there was pros and cons as well, but I just want to get a complete, you know, I do have Jacob got numbers for us from the equalization department, you know, portraying a potential sale and what the benefits to the local municipalities in the county, you know, would be for obviously putting stuff on a tax roll. So I do have those, but I can forward those to the board, and when I get the appraisal, just put that with my report, and I will email that to the board and anybody else who might want that.
So I'm just making sure for everyone's clarity. It's a recommendation that the county retains ownership of the marina and the transfer station.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anything further? You were on that committee?
No, I think
okay. Very good. Yeah, and yeah, keep us posted when the appraisal shows up. Very good, Commissioner Britz, your group.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee that I'm involved with is what to do with Sharon Avenue property and the existing jail. We did not discuss the jail much because it's being housing the inmates and so on. And until we have a facility to actually move people, I don't think that in my opinion, that warrants a discussion at this time. It's got a lot of flaws in it. I know it myself, but it also has some potential of some valuable use for the county and maybe storage in the future. But that's a future discussion once the jail is passed. But the Sharon Avenue property, this is a email that I sent out to the committee, keeping them apprised of what's happening. The committee recommended to the board of commissions to do a request for an RFP to have Sharon Avenue looked at for structural concerns, and the 3-hour firewall is possible. The 3-hour firewall would permit a division between the old lodge portion, which is the sanctuary, and I'll call it the gathering area of the building. That is still being looked at, that portion of it, but it would give us some latitude in what we could actually use the building for. So OHM is looking at that portion at this time. We received 3 bids, with OHM being the least of the bids, and they were awarded the contract. Tom Bingham, our maintenance manager, Todd LaRue, and Joe Watson, our building inspectors, and myself met with OHM on April 1st to discuss what departments may move up there and space needed. Initial thoughts were the building department, the clerk, register of deeds, building maintenance, administration with a commissioner's hall and equalization. I also asked for a report on the structural concerns and firewall before time was put in a space development. On the 7th, we again met at the courthouse here with OHM so they could look at the offices that were included. It was noted by Clerk Kelly, the large vaults, very large vaults, in her 2 offices, which is the register of deeds and the clerk's office, would be required if her department moved. Jacob Jer from our equalization noted that his department should be in the same building with the clerk and treasurer as they share many records. This caused us to rethink who can move up to Sharon Avenue. On the 7th, also later on that afternoon, I received a structural report stating from OHM, stating the sanctuary side could be beefed up to bring to current codes for record storage and at a most likely very minimal cost. The common area is already up to code, the gathering area, and can be used for office space. The firewall is still being looked at. With this, we asked for footage for the administrative offices with the commissioner's area for monthly board meetings, building department, building maintenance, and MSU extension. Right now, the MSU is being housed at the Houghton County Arena that is owned by the city of Hancock. We sold them a few years back. An agreement was made with the city that they would continue to house MSU rent-free for 10 years, and that date was turned. That date was we turned over the date from the date we turned it over to them. I believe there's about 4 years ballpark left in that agreement. Maybe a little more, I'm not quite sure. At this time, the county is required to supply office space to MSU. As we know, there isn't any space in the courthouse, thus would cause the county to rent space for them. OHM is ready to discuss their future recommendations, and I'll either set up a meeting with the group and go from there. But Todd went over to Todd. I don't know who went with you, but Joe went over and did the footage of MSU. Sent us some pictures of what they house. It's looks like a pretty big area that they have, but we are required to house them, and based on information we gathered with other offices and who's in this building, I think moving MSU up there in the future would be a wise idea with the administration, Todd's department, the building department, and then our maintenance. It has a 2-car garage up there and a lot of space where that Tom Bingham, our maintenance manager, said he would be fantastic for him to do his projects in, store his materials. And so those the people that we talked with, I have not spoken personally with MSU, but we're required to give them space, so that was going to have to be what it would be. Are interested in moving, excited about moving, and moving forward. We got an email today from OHM that they want to get together next week and talk about just a footprint of what can be used, what the space is available, what would be needed. The building would be structurally sound to use, and we would use the sanctuary once the trusses are beefed up to a bit. That'd be fantastic county storage. We're spending $11,000 a year right now in storage, and we can move all our records down there and utilize the building, which would save the county some money and give us some space in this facility.
Very good. So bottom line recommendations are that with a new jail being constructed, the old jail could be reutilized.
Well, we know it needs a roof. We
Yeah.
went through that a year or two ago.
3 years.
3 years ago, we went through. We're up there with Travers Engineering, looking at it and stuff. It needs a new roof with some kind of either completely replace it or put a structure over it, a wooden structure over it. That was discussed and talked. It's got an old new air conditioning system that was put in probably 10 years ago or so. But they also put in 44 holes when they put the air conditioning in.
But for record storage,
I believe it could be used very well for record storage for this facility.
And then with your, and you took a deep dive into the existing building up on Sharon Avenue. My understanding is that structurally it's sound, it's just with the reuse that uncaps the grandfathered roof construction. So that's the reason for the reinforcement.
Sanctuary areas, not to the current codes, no load.
Good.
And OHM did come up with a fix for that.
Good.
Without having to come down and bear down on floor or anything, so.
So it's likely that it would be prudent to reuse that structure as opposed to demolishing.
My understanding when talking with the engineers, I believe it to be structurally sound and we could use it.
Thank you. Anything further on your?
Anything else I missed?
No, you covered it all.
Thank you.
All right. Our jail construction committee is chaired by Jared Herkus, who has a meeting conflict on this particular night. Can I call upon you, Faith, to brief us?
Sure.
And that full report is in your commissioner packets.
Thank you, Chairman Pickett and Commissioners. My name is Faith Morrison. I'm with the Legal Voters of the Copper Country, and I'm one of the 10 members of the jail committee, which included Chair Tickinen and Commissioner Jansen as well, and a number of the people here in the room, including Dan Holcomb, who spoke earlier today, Mike Hamilton, who's in the room, Todd LaRue, who was just speaking, Andrea Johnson, who's in the room, Lori Troth, who's on Zoom right now, and only one other one missing. And you know what else? Oh, Justin Lacoste, he is here as well. Okay, so we have a really good show from members of the committee. Our committee was formed in November, and as Chairman Tickinen said, it's chaired by Jared Herkus. And we had 8 meetings between now and then, which was a pretty aggressive schedule. In addition, we had a subcommittee that dug into what I'll call the square footage question, and I can speak a little. I'll be emphasizing that in a bit. We have a 15-page report, and it is in the packet that's posted online for this meeting, so everybody can have a copy of that packet. At the end of this meeting, I'll be having it posted as well on the Legal and Voters website, and perhaps also on the county website with their permission. We We did a lot of meetings and thinking about the question of how we could come up with a design that the public could support, for a new jail that the public could support. So we started with discussions of why the public hadn't supported the design that was voted for last year. And so those are summarized in the report, the kinds of comments that everybody brought to the meeting. Nothing was left out, and at the top of that list was cost, but there were many other issues as well. During those discussions, we also talked about how to get the word out about the details and the pros and cons and the things that were being debated in the process that was reflected by our committee and by the other two committees, Commissioner Karen's committee and Commissioner Britz's committee. And again, in that written report, there are a number of bullet items showing the kinds of outreach efforts that were taken in order to keep the public involved and able to make their input. All the meetings of the committees that we've talked about have been open to the public, electronic ways to attend, and all were asked to attend, and there were open public comment sessions. Another action of the committee that is not related to the design exactly is to follow up on the idea that came from the public in the previous meeting. Wouldn't there be some sort of federal funds that could be used to help to fund our jail? And in fact, two efforts came out of our committee. One was spearheaded by Dan Holcomb, which was to work with Congressman Bergman on a request for funds for engineering work up to $2 million, and that went in this spring. And the second was a similar proposal to Senator Slotkin, also for engineering funds, because as you'll hear me say in a little bit, that's one of the key steps that's needed to advance getting to the final design that could go before the voters. And then my fourth item is related to this square footage and design of the jail. And my fifth item, I'm going to sneak peek a little bit, is about diversion programs to reduce the number of people who need to be served by the jail. So fundamentally, the question of cost for our jail facility includes its design, and it includes how many people need to be housed and processed through the jail. So those are two very important issues. I'm going to spend most of the next little bit of my report on the issue of the square footage, because that's a key issue related to moving forward in this process. But I want to talk a little bit about diversion programs. So diversion programs, or pretrial assessments of those who have been arrested, are an important process that can reduce the need for the size of the jail. And we have a new treatment court case manager, Andrea Johnson, who was on the committee and is here in this room, who has been sharing with us her knowledge about Michigan state funds that are available through an act called the Community Corrections Act, that would allow for appropriate assessment of anybody who is about to be retained in the jail, so that only people who truly have no who have no danger to the public, but also that people could be released on their own recognizance with the appropriate support and services, so that if, for instance, addiction or alcohol, that they would end up with services that would keep them from coming back to the jail. So the revolving door of in the jail, out of the jail is also expensive and costs us money in terms of jail design. So that is also something that you'll hear when I get to the recommendations of the committee. So the issues related to the design of the jail, that was the need of the work of the subcommittee, which was then brought back to the main committee. It's a complex problem. Our county board had engaged the Bonnemarsh Vice consultants to do the preliminary design estimate and cost estimate that was used to justify the $32 million cost that was used in the millage that we went down 56 to 44 last year. And that work that was done by a Bonnemarsh Vice was not this $2 million engineering work, because we didn't spend $2 million. That kind of work of getting the engineers to really look at exact square footages and engineering and placement and adjacencies is very expensive and is done by highly trained professionals. Instead, it was work based on deep experience in how much jails tend to cost, and it had very large ranges around the numbers that they gave. And those who have seen that report from the previous discussions knows that there are really some very large ranges, or even a number like the 32 million that was used in the millage. So our committee took what we got from our subcommittee in particular took what we got from that Belmont Vice report, which had some numbers for a 51-bed jail. The reason why they assessed the square footages that are appropriate for a 51-bed jail is because that matched the average daily population of our jail, which is something like 28 or 30, in other words, full, and having enough space so that the mandatory classification rules of the state of Michigan could be appropriately followed. So again, if you've been hearing jail talks before, you've heard classification before, but just to refresh, the idea is that when a new person is presented and needs a spot in the jail, we need to have a space for them. If they have a mental health issue, if they come in intoxicated, if they're a juvenile, if they're a woman, they're a man, there's only some spaces that are appropriate for them. There can vary in a full jail. If let's say we had a jail with one empty place, you would have to be really lucky if the next person who needed a space fit exactly in that space. To become the fourth man in a 4-man jail, for instance, that had to be a. What if it was a woman? What if it was a juvenile? So the classification number is 51 for the kind of average daily population that we currently have. So our committee took those square footage and did our best with trying to understand what those spaces meant and what they corresponded to. And we have some spreadsheets and we have some engineering expertise on our committee, but we hit the end of what we could do essentially for free, or what could be done for free. The next set of work that has to be done is actually that professional engineering work, or something like it, and we'll talk a little bit about that in our recommendations. Because what needs to be done is to be more specific about what square footages are actually meeting the needs of the sheriff's office and the citizens of Houghton County, and then what spaces can safely be dual purpose spaces to, again, reduce the size of the possible bill. And that needs a lot of experts in the room to do that. If we don't have that $1 or $2 million that we may, if we're extremely lucky, get from the federal fund. So that's the fast version of the report. As I said, the report is online and in the packet for today's meeting. Let me tell you what our 5 recommendations were and are, and also with a little bit of flavor behind them. So our first recommendation is we recommend to the county that you continue to work to do space planning for the proposed facility. So based on the numbers that our committee started with, we'd like to see that process move forward, bringing in some expertises. Some additional expertises, that's part of our second recommendation, which is to seek input from local experts. We had a number of local experts on the committee, and they suggested that a program like a request for qualifications or a request for information or some kind of an industry day, where local expertise who have as citizens a stake in the jail could come and bring some out-of-the-box thinking to the process of this kind of getting serious about the square footages of the design. So the questions of square footages and also the method for building can make a very big difference in costs. This would be an attempt to not have those big ranges on any estimate, but a much more down-to-earth number that could be used for to tell the public that we think we can get what we need done for a smaller number. But that needs to be backed by some serious engineering work, and that's where we hope that could be found through local experts' input. We have 3 other recommendations. Our third recommendation is to address some of the issues that came up in what we heard, what members of the committee shared with us were reasons why the millage didn't pass. And that recommendation reads, make formal board commitments. And so what we mean by formal board commitments, I actually have seen today in the words of the board, some of the kind of commitments that I think this refers to. So in the discussion of what moves where and when and who moves up to Sharon Avenue and how various different choices will actually be made, there are some things that probably the board can say that they're pretty sure they're going to do that. And there are some things that maybe one or two people think might be done, but it's not likely to be action of the board. The public would we believe the public would very much like to know what's being planned and then be able to rely on something that the board might formally adopt in terms of actions so that they can know that it's really going to happen. Or, as we saw in the case of the Sharon Avenue tear down, have an input and perhaps move the county to something that it's more to their liking. And which has now become the change to the reuse of the Sharon Avenue building. So the basic idea is to make more formal commitments so that the public can know what's happening and can know that their input and reaction to that can be brought right into the process. The recommendation number 4 is weigh the trade-offs for a November vote versus a later vote. In the plan to put together these committees and to have these reports today was the idea that this needed to be stepped up so that there would be time to have a millage in November. November is the time that many people express is the time they would like to have an important millage like this rather than at one of the smaller elections. But there's not a lot of time. So to do my first recommendation about further specification of the plan between now and when we would realistically have to vote, actually but legally have to vote to put the millage on the ballot sometime in August, there's not a lot of time. So that's something that goes against having it in November. But the question really comes down to, do we ask ourselves as a committee, do the engineering plans really need to be done in order to have that vote? And the answer might be that if the previous recommendation where the county went on the record for what they were planning, what they were doing, including, for instance, taking a formal vote to what they would do if they authorized the millage of some large amount of money, like 30 million, if they went on the record and said exactly what would happen, that they would pledge to continue to seek the lowering of costs and that any unspent funds would be returned to the public in terms of a shortened millage or a reduced millage. If that could be actually part of the deal and expressed and held to, that could make having an earlier millage all the more practical. Another advantage of having the November millage is that villages that are not associated with mandatory elections like the one in November cost the county money. So there's something like $30,000 that it would cost to have the millage in any other town. And I already mentioned, and members of the public really prefer the November date. And then the other advantage is that additionally, every necessary repair to the current jail is in the long term a waste of taxpayers' money. The current jail is simply inappropriate, cannot be made appropriate. And so every time we spend $16,000 on plumbing for a toilet and a sink for a jail suitable construction, which is a recent, was late last year, one of the actions we did, that money is going to go away because we're not going to be able to make the jail suitable. The faster this is done, the better. And as I said, the disadvantages of going for the November ballot are a limited amount of time that the county has to do the work that I've described. Maybe if you delayed it, the millage fatigue would set in, and that would not be positive towards passing a millage. And then again, the November, I guess it's November date. And then the last recommendation from the jail committee is to budget the jail project. So the 2027 county budget is being formulated certainly in the departments and will soon be part of discussion before the commissioners. And we've heard it said many times that the jail is the most important thing, so it really should be in the budget. So our committee is recommending that that the progress toward the jail be funded formally as budget items, and that would also be a positive impact on community attitude about the whole jail project. So those are the 5 recommendations. The jail committee itself has many members who are willing to continue working on this. That's at the pleasure of the board, but we very much appreciate having been trusted with this level of of thought to bring you a recommendation. I can tell you that every member of the committee worked extremely hard and brought their strong opinions and their expertises to this, and we very much appreciate the opportunity to give this input to the county.
Thank you very much, Faith. Well, there you have the three reports. I would suggest that that as soon as we have the results of the appraisal from for the Canal View property, that and I guess we'll just have to get a handle on when that's going to be received, but we'll have to take this up again at the May meeting unless the wheels turn quickly enough that we can call a special meeting just to determine what our next step would be as a board. Any other comments on any of that?
Yeah, I guess just at one, thank you. And I appreciate all the efforts. I want to say that first and foremost. And two, had the $32 million bond issue passed last year, that's the way that would work. You'd only draw down. So you authorize up to 32 million. You have to then bid out the project, meaning you have to design next. Obviously, if the bond issue is successful, then there is money to pay for the $1.5 to $2 million to design the jail. Once it's bid out, then the bonds are sold. And of course, with a contingency. So at no time will this county sell the whole bond issue until it's bid out and we know exactly what the price is. So and obviously if it comes in less, the bond issue isn't sold for 32 million, it might be 30, it might be 28. The other thing, which of course you point out, is twofold. One, we do have to even get to that point, we need at least an agreement on cells. You point out that at least our consultant said we should have 51 today. So that was the discussion we had last year is, well, do we add 10 more or 20 more? Because if the jail is ever built, it's going to last for 40, 50, 60 years like the one we have now. Because it is unpopular to keep millage for a new jail going forward. And again, then the other part is, of course, the square footage for the sheriff's office, which again, probably those are the two things that will formulate. And again, maybe they can be done at a lower cost, or and those estimates that were included in the consulting were low, medium, and high cost, because that's what they deal with. And I just used the medium. I mean, that was myself using the medium estimates they have. But fundamentally, it's still, I think we all agree that we should, whatever millage this time, put it where people are going to vote the highest, which would be November. And then there won't be another high vote until November of 28. And so if we take that position, then if we don't do it this November, we would have to wait till November 28. Now, having said that, if we're lucky enough to get either the $1 million or $2 million appropriation, and I thank Dan Holcomb particularly for starting that process, and then obviously the request for Representative Bergman, but also the request for Senator Slotkin. And we will probably not know. I mean, well, we should hopefully know if there's a federal budget, shortly after October 1. But again, the way the federal government works, we may or may not know. And of course, if we're lucky enough to get that, we would have the luxury of designing it, even if the millage doesn't pass, or even if we, have a full design so that we can bring it back and say, now we have a full design of what we need. But it just seems to me that we still got to keep the process going. And I would certainly still support trying to get it on the ballot in November with the caveat that we still need to figure out the amount of cells and the square footage, which then in theory could lower the 32 million down to 30 or 28 million. But even then, that's a maximum number. It would not be a minimum number. So, and the millage, was presented 1.6. I mean, at best, we might get down to 1.5, 1.49, 1.48, 1.52. I mean, I don't think at any point are we going to be down to substantially less than the 1.6, even though our tax value continues to grow. Those are built into the estimate last time. But having said that, as a county board, we still have to keep trying to get a new jail. I mean, not only for the safety of our corrections officers, but the fact that and the condition of the jail and we all know we're one federal lawsuit away from substantial liability and, you know, and I think we all know, I mean, if you go back, I think Sheriff McLean that one year said back, there was multiple suicide attempts, you know, over the years at certain times, depending on the heat and how many people were in there. And I mean, there's just liability lined up against the county. And I recognize, I run into people all the time, say, yeah, we recognize that we want a new jail. I'm just not going to pay for it, you know? And so that's the frustration I think we all have. But if we as leaders don't try to keep this process moving, and even if God forbid it's every 2 years we have an election and it fails, at least we give the electorate that option. You know, where if we don't give them an option, I think we're doing a disservice to the county too. But so I still think we got to agree on the cells and the square footage at the jail, and then hopefully we could massage those numbers down to get to a point where at least it's more attractive than what we obviously tried to do last year. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
No, I appreciate it, and I support just about everything you had to say there, Commissioner Anderson. As we wait for the appraisal to come back on Canal View, determine what action to take after that. But there was a comment made during Faith's delivery of this committee's report as to the future of that committee. And you have established a future meeting date. I wonder if, and as a member of that committee, along with Commissioner Jensen, I wonder if now is the time for us to take a deeper dive into gaining some information or potential information from the local experts. We touched on it. That's got a long conversation in itself. You know, there was a variety of suggestions for events to be held with area developers and contractors, and so I would hope that we could continue with that effort because the potential is that we could bring those numbers both for the size and the overall cost into some clearer focus, and have that information in the event that we were to have it a millage request in the November ballot.
I mean, any of our contractors in Houghton County could tell us, once we tell them how many square foot we need for a sheriff's office, can give us that. I mean, at current prices. And even probably Todd could with the square footage on that. And then remember, as far as the jail portion, it will just be either a metal building or concrete building, you know.
Sure.
That's going to be the cheapest part of it. It's purchasing the pods, which have to be stainless steel and, you know, all the stuff that goes to support that. And again, that's not impossible to get better estimates on once we decide how many cells we want. And so we should be able to narrow down, I think, between now and November, and certainly by August, where we'd have to put the ballot and language together. If we use the local engineers and local contractors to say, here's the square footage for the office, here's the amount of pods that we need. This is the size building to fit the pods in. You know, what's the estimate?
Comment, Faith?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that when one says the sheriff's office, it sounds like we're talking about where the sheriff sits at a desk with his computer. But the space that's not the housing is booking, evidence storage, investigations. I'm sure Commissioner Briggs could give us the whole list. So one of the insufficiencies of our current jail is that all that working space for the sheriff's team is in the center and surrounded by the housing. And so that space, it was never an opportunity in Houghton County since 1963 when the building was built. You could never, as the number of people and the number of arrests increased, the number of people detained increased, you could never have a larger booking space or stop double using the booking space as the hallway that goes from one set of housing to the other part of housing. There's no place for the juvenile holdover. There's no place for dealing with mental health issues and enough space to deal with drug and other issues like that. So I'm just a little bit concerned about the word sheriff's office, maybe operational area. So
the local expertise, and the extra work that needs to be done that Commissioner Anderson is talking about needs to include, that was the part that we were finding difficult, how to size that operational space properly. And there's critical adjacencies. That's something that was also brought up by March Vice, because somebody who's arrested comes in through the Sally Port, has to get the booking, and et cetera. Things have to be near one thing or the other. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. So, bottom line is we'll pick this up again as far as the to act on the recommendations from these three committees. And I will, Commissioner Jensen and I will follow up with that committee's chair, Jared Herkus, and suggest a deeper dive into setting up a process for developing size and cost numbers. Further comments? In the interest of time, we'll move on. Thank you for all of your reports. And thank you for presenting tonight on behalf of Jared Faith.
Yes.
Item number 7 is request for proposal for accounting services update. You have a statement from the administrator. Is there anything further from you or any comments for the administrator?
I guess I appreciate the effort. We tried and I see no responses. At the same time, now that we're fully staffed and in time, once we get our competency up to county operations, accounting wise, and there obviously be some learning curve because there's 2 new employees. Would we be in a position to do the master reconciliation of accounts, which hasn't been done in years? I mean, or is that something we still need an outside consultant to do?
I believe we will still need our consultant to help with us. He has the historical knowledge. We're more than 4 years since we had a full reconciliation process. So Joe, he is our financial consultant. We had since 2024, and I would recommend to keep consulting with him for another month alongside.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I guess just are we going to be in a position between the fully staffed and with Joe to get to a point where we can do the master reconciliation?
I believe so.
Yes. And then I guess, thank you.
Wonderful. And other, any further discussion on that topic? Is there action required? I think you're just bringing us up to date, really. Is that your understanding? Very good. We'll move on. Item 8 is the request for proposal for cybersecurity services. We discussed that at our April work session. You have a request for proposal document in your packet. I feel that we should put it out there. We do have adequate services in place right now, but I think there's room for some improvement, at least in the reporting aspect. We've received very little feedback from the current provider, and frankly, maybe there's a better deal out there, but you don't know unless you ask. Any comments on that, or is there a support for taking this action?
I'll make a motion that we authorize submitting or putting requests for proposals out for cybersecurity services and whatever deadline that, is there a deadline suggested in here or just whatever?
Yeah. Well, we'll just fill that in based on what, once it's issued.
So I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Britz to issue the request for proposal for cybersecurity services. Is there further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 9. We've developed a network outage and operations disruption policy. That was reviewed at the work session. And this is our opportunity to adopt that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you getting back input from the judges. I think we saw that in some of the emails. I
Thanks
appreciate
for mentioning that. I think
Appreciate that.
we all saw their responses, that they were willing to be included in this policy. Actually, it was more for the weather and inclement
Right.
emergency services. but-
That's true.
I guess I missed what you just said.
You mean regarding the judges?
Right, okay. I did see those emails, so. okay.
Yeah, and that was related to the inclement weather.
Right. I have a question though, one entity that wasn't mentioned, and it was the road commission. I mean, for weather, they're obviously essential personnel, but there may be some people who work over there who are not. But I didn't see them mentioned.
Well, we're actually dealing with the network outages right now. We'll move on to.
I got ahead of myself.
Okay, sorry.
I
apologize to the chair.
No, that's fine. That's all right. It's my turn to apologize. Do we have a motion on this? Okay. Motion from Commissioner Taranen, supported by Commissioner Britz, to adopt the network outage and operations disruption policy. Now, is there further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Very good. Motion carries.
Too many resolutions.
That's a long agenda tonight. We appreciate your understanding, folks. Item 10 is the inclement weather and the emergency closures policy.
So that I will make a motion that we consider approving the inclement weather and emergency closures as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen. Discussion.
Do we add them, the road commission, or do they have their own policy, or listen?
Do you have a comment? Right,
They have their own board.
He's our liaison with the road.
They have their own board.
Okay,
So I would let them make their own decision on it.
okay.
There's only a couple office staff over there. Everybody else will be out driving trucks and
That
plows.
makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know that they were. If that makes sense.
Very good. Other, more discussion? All those in favor of adopting the inclement weather and emergencies closures policy signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, moving on to item 11, that's the building department quotes for truck purchase. Okay, we have received bids.
I believe that's agenda item 3.
Oh. Say that again.
I think this is for agenda item 3.
I thought this was the truck. Oh, yeah, no, okay. We have the truck and the Ford and the GM
Yes.
Kivana in the packet. So we have 2 bids for the building
Oh,
department truck.
okay.
I make the motion that we accept the bid from Keweenaw Chevrolet.
Ford.
Okay,
And we had a bid from Ford,
gotcha.
so still higher than Chevrolet.
Okay, motion, was there support for
Yes.
support? Motion made by Commissioner Karen and supported by Commissioner Britz to accept which one?
Keweenaw Chevrolet for $50,014.
All right, accept a bid from Kivana Chevrolet.
Just for the record, the Ford was what, about 54,000, 55,000? I didn't deduct the discount, but
52.
yeah, thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. All right, we're finally moving on to new business. And the first is county equalization report. We'll call upon our equalization director, Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an annual report from our department summarizing the recommended equalized taxable values for the county. I'd like to thank my team, Elizabeth and Trent, for their efforts this year in making this reporting possible. Overall, we are recommending that all units be equalized as assessed. Those figures are summarized on page 1 of the report. Our department is recommending the following equalized values be adopted. Real property, $2,187,294,817. Personal property, $99,123,978. For a total equalized value of $2,286,418,795. Overall, between 2025 and 2026, there was an increase in the total equalized values of $244,539,295 for an 11.98% increase, summarized on pages 5, 6, and 7. The top 5 units for equalized value summarized on page 13 are respectively Houghton City, Portage Township, Calumet Township, Torch Lake Township, and Hancock City. Now moving on, we have taxable values summarized on page 2. In real property, $1,325,025,314. Personal property, $99,123,978, excuse me, for a total taxable value of $1,424,149,292. Overall, between 2025 and 2026, there was an increase in the total taxable values of $89,928,982 for a 6.74% increase, summarized on pages 8, 9, and 10. The top units for taxable values summarized on page 13 are respectively Houghton City, Hancock City, Portage Township, Calumet Township, and Torch Lake Township. For 2026, roughly 55% of properties had principal residence exemptions and 45% were non-principal residences. And we have over 21,240,000 in exempt taxable value from properties receiving the disabled veterans exemption, summarized on pages 11 and 12. Those are the basic highlights of this report. Are there any questions at this time?
Jacob, there's one summary you have in here of all the units and the percent of changes on the assessed value and taxable value. And I see Quincy taxable value went up 71.79%. Could you just explain that to me?
Yeah, so I kind of chuckle. It does look like typo in there. It is not. That is due to the new Upco building that was built by the hospital there.
Yep.
There was, if I'm not mistaken, roughly $7 million in personal property reported with that property, and then the property itself, I believe, was close to 15 million, 20 million. Yeah. So quite a substantial increase when you have a township of only a couple hundred parcels. So that explains.
That explains that. And then what was the inflation rate?
For 2026, 2.7%.
So every township, every jurisdiction in Houghton County grew faster beyond the inflation rate.
Yeah, so the inflation rate is regarding the capped value for taxable values. That formula is basically taking the prior year's taxable value, deducting any losses, demolitions, etc., times the 2.7% that you asked about, and then plus the addition. So that would be, new construction.
So remarkable numbers. And if you look at it from the standpoint that every unit of government in Houghton County grew well past the inflation rate.
Certainly, and I think that's
remarkable.
Testament to just the amount of new construction and people interested in living in this
area.
area.
Yeah, just remarkable.
It's also attributable to the job creation in the area.
That's true.
It's not just a nice place to work or to live in, but people are finding that they're very attractive employment options depending on their field.
Definitely strong numbers.
And should you send a thank you to UPCO?
That's up
With
to
the
you.
township.
It's not my jurisdiction, but I wish it was.
They said it's one every month. We're paying for it.
That's true. That's true. Good point.
And really, do any of these numbers reflect the construction of those tax exempt facilities? For example, churches, nonprofit, health organizations.
No, so exempt properties, and that's actually, so if you look at page, and this is just one example. If you look at pages 3 and 4, so I list the so-called senior citizen disadvantaged housing. There's a facility in Calumet Township that's included, and then a facility in Hogan, where those values don't actually truly grow, like with market values of non-exempt properties. The properties you ask about, those specifically, like churches and other entities like that, aren't included in these numbers at all.
Right. For example, the big expansion in Lorium of the Aspirus Hospital, that would not show up.
No, they are nonprofit.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just, this doesn't tell the whole story really of the energy that's present in the communities.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, even given the lands that transferred from being taxable into exempt, it's more than made up for with the properties that value that
Right.
taxable.
Very good. Further questions for Jacob? Thank you very kindly for the report. Now we need to adopt this, correct?
Yes, please.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Kiernan, supported by Commissioner Anderson to adopt the equalization report, the county equalization report. Will we be called upon for any other reports for 2026?
The only other major report that we do is after millage reduction fractions are calculated and the local units request their millages, we do apportionment in October.
Very good. Other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is the Connections Not Cuffs grant. This is the lease agreement. You might recall from our work session, there are two requests regarding this grant. First is the lease agreement for their office location. That will be followed up on the next item for the vehicle purchase request.
So I'll make a motion. We approve the lease with the Salvation Army at $1,000 a month for fiscal year 25, $1,100 a month for fiscal year 26 and 27, increasing to $1,200 per month fiscal 28 and 29. And of course, that's contingent upon continuing receiving the grant.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Kiernan to approve the grant or the lease agreement for the Connections Not Cuffs grant. Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan? Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Chair, Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
And Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on then to item 3, which is the same grant situation, but this is for the vehicle purchase request, which is part of their grant package. All right.
You get the honors. How many bids do we receive?
2. This is
Oh, they
for
got
the
for
new
use,
vehicle and.
two
that's-
used vehicles,
and that's
okay,
for-
one for each on the
So,
used.
Gail, are you here? Yeah, so you we're talking about one vehicle though,
We're
correct?
talking about one vehicle. I think only two bids. Jason actually handled the bid process.
Okay, so you've actually got a bid for a new vehicle and a used vehicle.
Right, yeah.
Based on the allotment and the grants,
So how much do we have available?
31,500.
All right, thank you.
This first is for a new vehicle, and this bid is received from Kevina Chevrolet. This is for a Traverse. And they are offering it for $41,878. Did you get that number, Renee?
Yes, at a 2026 or what year?
Thank you. That is a 2026 Chevrolet Traverse. I'd appreciate it if you would all review that. And the next bid is received from Copper Country Ford. And this is for an Explorer, a Ford Explorer 2026. Their total bid is $37,183.68. Would you repeat that number for her?
It's $37,183.68.
Next, we have a bid from Kevina Chev, and this is for the used vehicle. I asked for a letter opener, but apparently they don't trust me with sharp instruments. All right, we have a Traverse. This is a Chevrolet Traverse LT 2022. Their base bid for this is $26,794.
Even? No sense.
No cents. Next is from Copper Country Ford for the used vehicle. This is for a Ford 2025 Explorer. Get that? And their base bid is $41,787.71.
They include mileage on them?
They do have mileage listed on there, yes. I guess I would,
Grab the mileage on both of those there.
yeah,
That
if you
just so
could
we got
read,
it.
if you could, Joel or Roy, could you tell Renee what the mileage are on those two vehicles, the used vehicles? And there are warranties offered on both of those as well.
Looking for the mileage?
Yeah.
The Explorer, they've got 26,000.
Even?
You got XXX.
And the Traverse has 57,443.
143?
Yes.
What's the warranty offered on those two vehicles?
The Explorer is remaining factory.
Yes.
I did have, even a Chevrolet, put a quote for different warranty options for the new Traverse. There's a 2-year, 3-year, and 4-year bumper to bumper. Yeah, and the prices are on that page. I believe with the 3-year, we're still under our 31,000.
And the grant did allow us to buy a pre-owned.
So these used ones that you picked out, looked at and picked out?
Yes, I after learning that estate pricing wasn't much of a discount, actually Ford is actually better on the discount. Is when I went back for and I requested used values. Each one of them just had those specific vehicles. They each had one very specific fortunately.
We're looking for a 7 vehicle with all-wheel drive to transport.
So the 2-year warranty for the Chevrolet Traverse is $3,751. The 3-year warranty is $4,422, and the 4-year warranty for the used Traverse is $4,932. So obviously, if you take the 26,794 and add the 3-year one, at least you'd be what, at close to 31,000.
Need a motion for us to approve one of these vehicles?
Yes.
We do, as soon as Glenn gets done with his arithmetic.
So if we did the 3-year one, it'd be 31,216. So right at just slightly above 31,000.
And you're comfortable with that one, if that's chosen, you're comfortable with it?
Yes.
Do we approve the used 2022 Chevy Traverse with a 3-year warranty?
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Jensen, supported by Commissioner Anderson. Is there further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman Karen.
Yes.
Commissioner Karen.
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you for your legwork. Okay, moving on to item number 4. Our friend Joe Foster is here to get a brand new year. Hopefully you guys will be out in the trees pretty quick.
Yes, sir. You betcha. I don't know a little bit with us, but good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. As your representative to the State Surveying and Remediation Program, I'm here tonight to present to you the contracts that we awarded for the 2026 Fulton County Survey and Remediation Surveys. Just briefly, we were awarded the grant of $71,498 from the state of Michigan for the specific purpose of survey and remediation within that county. In comparison, last year, 2025, we received $78,419. So although it is a 8.8% reduction in the grant that we were receiving, we worked the plan in order to accomplish as many corners as we did in 2025. We will in 2026. Specifically, where we will be working is in Township 53 North, Range 35 West. I have a handout that illustrates the area to the picture for illustration purposes, the area that we're working. And just in general, the original government land office survey of this township was accomplished in 1845 and 1846. So a number of years ago, the original surveys were accomplished. Original township lines were surveyed by William A. Burt during the fourth quarter of 1845. And later, the subdivision of the township was surveyed by Higgins and Hubbard during the third quarter of 1846. A little bit of history for you there. The surveys that followed, which perpetuated the original government land office surveys, include those accomplished in the early 1900s by P.A. Larson and during the 1940s by the Copper Range Mining Company. So just paint that, share that information with you, paint a picture as to many of these areas that we do go into these surveys have not been visited for many, many years since the original government or the general land office surveys. Specific to the area will be essentially the north 1/3 of the township, which encloses Toivola, Lake Eva, and that portion of those surrounding areas. And as said, even though we saw a reduction in grant amount, we will be accomplishing the resurvey of 35 corners, which includes 10 townships within that, or 10 full sections within that township. The 5 contracts that are going to be awarded before you tonight will accomplish that work within that township this year.
Thank you, Joe.
Any questions?
I guess who picks the jurisdiction? I mean,
It's actually as part of the original county plan that was put together back when the program began in 1990. The county plan was actually revisited in 2020. What we've been doing to date is working our way from the north boundary of the county and working our way south. To add to that, the county boundaries, all the boundaries of the county had been accomplished previous years. We're essentially, as we go, and working from, as a domino effect, working from one end of the county to the other.
Appreciate you sharing the names of those early surveyors. One name pops up in particular, Mr. Hubbard.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, Higgins and Hubbard, they were a pair. But yeah, certainly the Bird brothers and their family, but certainly not to be left out. That was hope as well.
That's true. Any questions or comments for Joe? Is there a motion to approve the contract?
I'll make a motion. We approve the 5 contracts for a total of $71,498 as recommended.
I'll support.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen. Further discussion? We'll call for a roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen,
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen,
Yes.
Commissioner Ternan.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Get to turn the page. Item number 5, we're happy to have Adam Wellstead from Michigan Tech University here to present regarding the second crossing of the Portage. Jeff
Mr.
Radcliffe.
Chairman, on behalf of the Keweenaw Economic Development Alliance, I'd like to introduce our speaker here. And sort of set the context, because back at the end of 2021, and I think you and I had some conversations prior to that. Certainly as the economic developer serving Houghton County and the Keweenaw Peninsula, I recognize the challenges we had with having an economy that, for the most part, is on the decline, and having only one connection to that. So you had brought it to my attention. We agreed that this was something we needed to go forward, think about, and start to plan to address that challenge. We pulled together a group of stakeholders from the county, both the city of Houghton and the city of Hancock. We brought in a couple of folks from Michigan Tech, as well as the MDOT, to start a conversation to look at what it would take to determine the feasibility of constructing a second crossing for Portage. After several attempts to find funding, because we agreed that this was going to take some money, we also looked at and made some requests to Michigan Tech. Again, things have gotten busy since the pandemic. The economy, I think, has been highlighted by our equalization director and talking with our building official. Things are moving. So fast forward to 25, I was introduced to Dr. Adam Wellstead as someone at MTU who might be interested in tackling the feasibility study. I reached out to Dr. Wellstead, and in the course of the conversation, he has risen to the occasion to take this on as a class project. So let me introduce Dr. Wellstead. He joined MTU's Department of Social Sciences in 2011, and after a 15-year career with the Canadian federal government. He has degrees in economics, political science, forestry, renewable resources, energy, renewable resources. His professional experiences contributed to his research and teaching public policy and public management. His research interests include investigating multi-level governance arrangements in the natural resource sector, measuring policy capacity, and evidence-based policy making, policy mechanisms, and improving policy process. It is in his role as co-director of the MTU STEM Public Policy Lab that he joins us this evening to discuss the second Portage Crossing feasibility study. And he's also joined by his colleague Ayla Gighart, Assistant Professor of Environmental Policy. That nice introduction. I will be quick, I promise. So again, we were asked by Jeff to get to this study. Who is the team? And
Hold on.
I am. And so we were also, another person that we were working with, we had also had an engineer working consulting with us on this particular project. So what is the scope of the study? What is this study not about? We're not proposing a specific project. We're not a location. We're not looking for any construction. This is, as Jeff said, early scoping, whether this is even on the policy agenda, looking at particular risks, and we also want to, the tail end of this 14 weeks was looking at gathering expert insights to form, hopefully, what would be a longer term project, our phase 2. So this is our phase 1, where we're asking, mainly really focusing on public officials, community concerns. How do we go about doing this in 14 weeks?
We divided the class into three groups, looking at the what and the where second crossing goes, why a second crossing, and we had a third group looking at the constraints. And then the students went through all the documents, we did all the document analysis, and the class conducted on that evidence. We undertook a SWOT analysis, looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Thirdly, what we're doing right now is as we're finishing up the last week, text is doing the interviews.
Thank you. We are tag teaming this. So we basically explored with our students 4 big questions. So one I've already mentioned, is this on the agenda, especially the experts and the experts? What conditions might advance this forward on the agenda as a more key item? What are the risks of a single crossing, and what are the trade-offs and constraints? So environmental, political, socioeconomic. And so our students did propose a location, and keep in mind this is only a proposal insofar as 14 undergrads can gather information in 14 days. But they identified a location east of the existing bridge that would connect Townsend Drive to Royce Road with traffic circles and entrances and exits to manage merging, minimizes the impact on existing infrastructure, and uses public land to avoid private acquisition. And that's sort of more detailed in your slides, which I know you have here. They considered 3 different types of crossings: a high-rise bridge that wouldn't have the mechanical components that the current bridge has, and that would have a 75 to 100-year lifespan. 100 vertical feet clearance and a longer approach span due to this height. A drawbridge, which of course is similar to the bridge we have, but instead of going up and down, it might open in different ways. And then a tunnel, which would be completely underwater and would have the highest construction, upfront construction, and risks for safety and ventilation systems. So the big question they were first tasked with compiling information about is why the copper country is growing is the best answer, and you've seen a lot of that evidence, heard a lot of that evidence tonight. 6.9% population growth, excuse me. We have 400,000 annual visitors for tourism and other reasons. And the next rehab cost of the bridge is estimated to be around $38 billion for the existing crossing. Also, healthcare access, because the emergency rooms are in Hancock and Laurium, it does become somewhat of a public safety issue if something were to happen for a single crossing. And then, of course, education access. Students and faculty and K-12 students use that bridge, employees, of course, on a daily basis to get where they need to go. And I will turn it back over to Adam. Very much.
Other thing, in addition to building a bridge, is the importance of asset management. So the asset management perspective, because 90%, 70 to 90% is based upon the long-term operation and maintenance of any type of crossing. So we need to think beyond the construction. The other group I said look at some of the key constraints: environmental, the social, cultural, economic, infrastructure, and legal. And by the way, we are developing a report, which is getting longer. It will be publicly available. So those are some of the key constraints. And some of the focus constraints we have are, of course, funding and ownership, environmental permitting, and institutional priorities. That were the key things. So again, we undertook, as I mentioned before, a SWOT analysis. We did it as a group in the class, and we prepared this SWOT analysis. What we thought were the key strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. So strengths would be something like improved open Hancock connectivity. Weaknesses would be the high initial ongoing winter maintenance costs. Opportunities would be tourism growth and construction job creation. Threats would be funding competition and political opposition exams. With that SWOT analysis in hand, we began to do what we would call the lead interview interview. So we were in, and Jeff was in touch with some key people, local officials, some servants, people who worked for Amazon, for instance, and we were doing semi-structured interviews with them, and we've taken that SWOT analysis and we said, this is what we did. What do you think should be the priorities in a feasibility study like this? As I said, we're on week 14. We're just wrapping up the interviews. We have one more of that. Here's Tom. You're the last one. So that's what we're doing. So we haven't, I don't know what we've got from the interviews because they've been transcribed. So we want to compare what we did, what the students found, and then based upon this very exploratory report, we want to move ahead. We'll finalize the report, and then we want to next spring continue this with another class and look at for the public view of a potential second house. That's where we are right now. It's been a fun experience as somebody who likes to work outside of class, into my background. It's been enjoyable to see students actually engage with outside level there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I guess 2 comments, Adam. Thank you for this, and I appreciate your effort, your class, your student efforts. 2 things. One, the county board several years ago asked the state for an appropriation of $500,000 just to begin a study, and of course MDOT did not support that, so obviously it didn't get funded. The other thing is, in my years here, people have said that we're one of only 1 or 2 places in the entire 50 states where our population of our size only has 1 crossing. And I think somebody had said there might be one other out in the Northeast in Maine or New Hampshire on some island that has, like in our case, we have the majority of the people living on the island. And I just wonder if that would help our argument that if we could go back to MDOT and say, we are really the top 2 in America that don't have a second crossing, given our population, not including the points you made of increased tourism, increased traffic, hospitals, emergency services, all the things that go with that. I just wondered if not now, that would be, if you could take the time to look at that, or have some students look at that, I think it would help our case.
Sure. Again, I have to stress that, and the philosophy in this class, I call it we, I, and you, I, and we. There's the you, the students, work we do. But this project also falls upon us as faculty outside of the class. It's just not a class project which ends in 14 weeks. We'll be continuing working with Jeff on this in the offices of our lab. So it's not just done because we will continue working on it. That's a very valid point, and I think what I hope this report might do is give you something to approach whoever funds the second crossing, whatever it might be, as a study that has been done. And that's what we have to offer here. Do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions for the? Thank you very much. And it's exciting to see this discussed and presented in this venue. There's people on the street corner or at the cafe or the corner bar have been talking about this for quite some time. So to have it brought forth in a fashion such as this, I think it's going to be noted by the community, and we certainly, once again, greatly appreciate this amazing institution we have here in the community, Michigan Tech, and bring your expertise and those of your students to task here.
I've enjoyed working with a lot of community partners on this.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we look forward to hearing from you in the near future. And thank you to Jeff, our KEDA Executive Director. Very good. Now we'll move on to number 6, item number 6, resolution 2606 to establish a water system and sanitary sewer system rates and charges. This is to do with the airport. The airport is a busy facility, but it's also more so because of the industrial community up there. And as such, the airport provides water and sewer services to our commercial and tenants there in the development. And occasionally we have to raise the rates. This has been reviewed in detail, not only by our airport manager, Casey Polkinghorn, who could not attend tonight, but also was reviewed by the airport committee. And the airport committee has made a recommendation to adopt these rate increases.
I'll make a motion. We approve resolution 2606, recommending the water and sewer rate increases as recommended by the airport administration and the airport board.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Britz. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bricks?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Karen?
Yes.
And Commissioner Jensen? Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7 is the UpCap May conference. You have that information in your packet. That's for May 14th through 15th. It's a great opportunity for updates with our other UP commissioners. Also, it's an opportunity for the clerk to attend, and also Commissioner Jensen, who serves on the UpCap Board of Directors.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize the administrator, the county clerk, and any commissioner who wishes to attend the UpCap Spring Conference, which is also the UP County Commissioner meeting.
I'll say.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen, to approve attendance by the clerk and the board and administrator, if available, at the UpCap Spring Conference, UPACC Spring Conference. And that is a budgeted item. Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Item 8, we have per request from the board, the administrator has developed a letter of appreciation to Representative Congressman Bergman.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we authorize the letter, and I appreciate the administrator writing it and then authorizing the chairperson to sign it on our behalf.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Karen. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Item 9, the ad hoc website committee. Commissioner Jensen, will you lead us?
Sure. So the ad hoc website committee is made up of our clerk and our Alex, IT, and me. And I'll give you an update on what we're working on. And then I think at our next monthly board meeting here, we'll propose, just an addition to policy about how to handle updates for the website. Alex had an opportunity to talk to our web designer about how to make these updates, and I think they've kind of come to a consensus of what's gonna make sense, and that would be to contact him directly, but copy Alex on that. And we're also working on a calendar of events where we could put closures and things like that as well. And anything else?
That's really the most of it.
Yeah, we're just gonna be asking in our policy, whatever, just that department heads be responsible for updating or keeping their part of the website up to date so far as employee turnover, things like that, or any other changes that they may need to make. And have that be part of our website.
Well, we appreciate the work accomplished. The website, I think, has become more and more crucial to not only daily operations in interaction with the community, but at large. People frequently have questions. More often than not, they can find their answers on the website, because the tricky part with our wonderful staff that we have, we can't assume that we can continue to grow to interact with folks in an ever-growing capacity. It's we have to work more efficiently and utilize the technology that is present in this 21st century. So,
And actually, Mr. Chairman, I do have something to add that I haven't. You're right.
I'll let you.
I would like to just probably shout out to this web for what they're doing. We brought the there's new standards that are required for all state and local government. They need to be web compatibility or web content accessibility guideline compliant by, I think, this time in 2027. And the excellent folks at Opus Web have made it all but true for us. The only weak link is the PDFs that our county uploads themselves. Everything else behind that is following a standard that we didn't even need to truly follow yet. And I think that's excellent.
Good comment. And I also like the fact that we work with a local firm, based right here in the Copper Country. Very good. Anything further, Commissioner Jensen? Great. Well, look forward to hearing more. And thank you, Alex, and the others that have been involved in the effort. Item 10 is the Tri-County Public Defender's monthly reimbursement request of $70,880.55.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen to approve the reimbursement. Is there further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Keranen?
Yes.
And Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 11 is our IT. Mr. Radke will report on the quote, the JABS quote. This is to do with amplification or improvement of this existing sound in this room.
Yeah, I have a little addendum to add to this. I put out a informal request for proposals from local stakeholders and folks that already service our AV system here at Jazz. The Justice AV Systems folks got me a quote right away, and it was included in your comments packet. These two quotes come from our local AV folks at Times Music. We've got a number of different systems in front of you. Costs for the Jazz system, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it was, I think, somewhere around $5,400.
The two quotes that come in from the county music are $8,800 and $10,440. These systems are all about the same. Having experience working with both the systems that we have in place here in the courtroom and the Shure mics that are quoted, or the Sennheiser mics and transmitters that are quoted, all of them are going to give us great sound. Could you argue the quality of the Shure mics or the Sennheiser mics might be better? Sure. But one of the things that I think stands out from the three quotes that we have is the folks at Justice AV Systems also guarantee that they will service those microphones going forward. It is not only the cheapest quote in front of us, but it is also one that they are going to continue to provide manpower for. And importantly, all three of these systems would belong to the Board of Commissioners. So if this meeting place moves, or if we take this anywhere else, those lavalier mics would come along with us. This is to address concerns from folks in our audience or folks virtually. Sometimes it can be hard to hear speakers. These would just be little lapel mics that we attach before the start of our meeting.
What speakers would we use though? The actual speakers? These are the microphones.
These are the microphones. They would integrate with our system. All three of them had the specification that they would go from XLR to Monte. I can talk to you about really long.
So would use the existing system we have here. Oh, great.
Yes.
Two questions. Am I correct that the county or the courts do business with JABS already?
Yes. Justice AV Systems manages the IT stack or the AV stack in the circuit court, the district court, and the family probate court.
Second question, with implementation of these systems, have we asked for permission to install that?
Yes.
With the Judge Bullitt?
Yes.
All right, and she was agreeable.
She's happy to have them here as long as she doesn't have to worry about them.
Very good. Other questions for Alex? What's your wish?
And I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of Alex and authorize the $5,409 with the Java system quote.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Jensen to accept the quote from JABS Solutions or whatever they are, but it's JABS, J-A-B-S. Okay. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen. Yes. Chairman Tickens.
Yes.
Commissioner Kiernan.
Yep.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Radke.
No, thanks, guys.
Moving on to item 12 is the materials management mini excavator maintenance. Commissioner Kiernan, can you lead us on that?
Yep, I talked to Kurt today. There's a quote there to replace the tracks on the mini excavator. That's crucial to our operating there. Quotes for $20,376.90 from McCoy. He says since this bid on 320, there have gotten worse, so it's time is of the essence. In his budget there, got the money, so I make a motion that we accept the bid from McCoy for $20,376.90 for new tracks for our excavator.
Motion made by Commissioner Kiernan, supported by Commissioner Jensen to accept the bid from McCoy for $20,376.90. Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Kiernan.
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen. Yes. Chairman Tickens.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thanks for the legwork on getting that information. Item 13 is the opioid task force county gathering. I believe you all received that email and from Daniel Kelly. all of the counties are receiving funds, and it's still rather chaotic as to how those are being received overall, not, there's certainly nothing on the Houghton County front, but also how you can implement or properly use those funds as they are received. So there is a gathering in Delta County coming up on Friday, May 1st. It would be good but it also, I did request that they provide a Zoom or Teams link to that. And I was informed today by Mr. Kelly that will be provided. But I use this just for informational purposes. I would hope that all of us could respond to this and at very least attend virtually if you're not able. But if anyone is available to travel down there, let us know. Maybe we can put a group together to take a county vehicle to attend this. Any comments? Very good.
I just have a quick question. Is that just for county commissioners and chief? This kind of unfolding?
That's what the invitation is for. It doesn't say. Doesn't say.
On the other hand, the county can take whoever they feel would be beneficial. So are you interested?
I am.
Okay, we'll share this information with you, Gail, and appreciate that. Put that there. And item 14 is the resolution number 26-05, opposing House Bill 4583 and any legislation that limits control over property tax millage election timing.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2605.
I would second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Jensen, supported by Commissioner Anderson to adopt resolution -05.
And apparently the bill would limit any millage elections only in November instead of May, April, or May, August, the 4 times that we can now anyway.
And that may not, on the surface, might not sound that restrictive, but frankly, it's just another overreach by the state government to take away local control or limit it, my opinion. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Jensen? Yes. Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Chairman Tickenen?
Yes.
Commissioner Karen?
No.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on then to item K. Is there any other communications that have come in? All right. On to travel. We have one travel approval to make. This is for our building inspectors to attend the COCM conference, provided they can tell me what COCM stands for.
It's Code Official Conference in Michigan.
I don't think you made that up. So.
I sit in that board just so the conference is free for me annually when we have to pay for it.
Appreciate your willingness to attend. That sounds like an important gathering. What is your wish?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Karen, to approve the travel request for our building department. Further discussion? This is a budgeted item. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to appropriations, we have 3. The Copper Country Community Mental Health for $27,415.82. The Health Department for $69,106.50. And Wupperter for $7,300 $435.50. We could take those all in one motion if you are so inclined.
To approve all three appropriations.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Jensen, supported by Commissioner Anderson to approve the three appropriations. Further discussion? These are budgeted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Public comments. We're happy to hear from the public on any topic.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to hold on to my comment at the request that you make start the meeting.
Thank you.
Of the agenda. Comment is position in as a private citizen in terms of what a non-line resolution is supposed to be in the function of certain what the commissioners are here for. Here last year, when we were here to comment. Being here in terms of actually being a non-line resolution towards something that the commission cannot really itself enforce. In regards to the two statements that were put out by United Indivisible and the Copper Country Republicans, I do want to make the comment that I feel that from the sheriff's statement as well, which I would like to get a copy of this go out. They have the same goals that I think we all do, where we do want a safe community where people can, go to school, live their lives and not be under the threat of, being ripped from their homes and having their life really upended, either from false accusations. The positions that really nice here. Really think that the operation bites really primarily at the behest of cities. They are imposed upon them. I don't think Minneapolis asked for ICE to come to their city. Chicago didn't ask. Los Angeles didn't ask. Portland didn't ask. It's not so much about whether we're at the threat of the sheriff's department suddenly deciding that they want to bring this in. We're at the threat of this administration deciding that, maybe we can take them off in some way. They're going to send a nice book. Also critical of the border patrol, which has been assisting in those operations and from just. So, with these statements in mind, especially the QAnon individual statement, which stressed that I want to focus on real issues within the community, I feel that that kind of positioning lessens the reality of what other individuals in this country are facing with. So really, I just want to put that out there. I am in agreement that the resolutions do not have any flexibility from this board commission, but I feel that these statements and from a high level game that we can all agree on, but doesn't really address the material concerns of why those statements.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I get your name?
Mel.
Mel?
Dave Giovanni from the Public Defender's Office. I guess I have a question for Chairman Tickett. Before the March meeting, within 7 business days, we had a request to be on the agenda. And we understood that it wasn't going to be a full member meeting, and we thought fine. And so we were put on for the work session earlier this month. And we were fine with that to address concerns that we have here and discuss issues with the board regarding our grant. But then we were told we were off of that agenda. I'm just wondering why we were put on and then we were put off.
Well, what do you want to talk about? What isn't this something that can be worked out between your administrator and our administrator?
Absolutely, but we need the communication channel, and I'm glad to hear that there's more people employed in the administrator's office. And if we could have a point of contact, that would be wonderful.
You don't know what the point of contact?
We do, but we don't get responses.
Okay,
That's the issue we were trying to address, was a communications issue. And we thought we could communicate to the board in the work session about this. So we're here limited to 3-minute increments to discuss it. But I think we have a lot to talk about.
have you attended a work session?
I was going to attend it, but I was called back to court in the morning. But we were told we were put on the agenda and then taken off. Had we been on the agenda, we would have been there. And I know there's public comment there, but there's a difference.
Well, we've implemented a work session so that we can, in a less formal arrangement, delve into particular topics. We would encourage you to attend that.
Can we be put on the agenda? To be on the work session.
On the work session?
Next work session.
For May?
Sure.
Have you tried to communicate that to the administrator?
We tried to communicate to get on. We were on the work session for April, or the beginning of this month. We were taken off. We were told, no, you're off the agenda. So
I misunderstood you. I thought you suggested you were taken off a regular agenda.
No, work session.
Okay.
Work session. The April meeting, I understand there were some members that were out.
I've got a great idea. How about if we just put you on the agenda for the May work session?
Okay.
All right.
What's the date on that time?
Was it May 4th or the first Monday?
First Monday in May.
May 4th at 10 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Fifth floor. We'll put you number 1 on the work session agenda.
Thank you. Yes, and I thank the board for paying our bill here today, and we look forward to working with you.
Thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you for saying something.
Hi there. What we had wanted to discuss at the work session, instead, I sent in the formal request, plenty of time, and I was told we'd be on the meeting, we'd be on the agenda. And then we received an email, I think I discussed with Paige, and she said, no, Chairman Dana thought it was inappropriate to discuss our problem at a work session or a county board meeting. And we weren't allowed.
I don't know that I ever suggested, used the terminology inappropriate, but I did suggest that this could be something worked out between the two administrators.
That was wonderful. I've been trying to contact your administrator to discuss.
And we have you as item number 1 at the work session on May 4th.
That's not soon enough for my problem. I couldn't speak. I've been trying for 6 months to contact the administrator with regard to filing an FSR for FY25 and a report of unexpended grant funds. The MIDC, which is the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, will not send any of the money to Houghton County until those 2 items are completed. And I talked to somebody from the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission this morning, and she said she has heard nothing from the administrator. She has sent emails, and there's been an email sent through egrams and another department of state, and she has not received any response. And on February 20th, she and on February 20th, this MIDC sent the administrator, this is what is wrong with your FSR. Change this. That's all they want, is a total off of your general ledger. They have heard nothing from the administrator on this. And that's why Houghton County has not received any money from the state of Michigan. The county would have received over $600,000 by now, but they're waiting for those 2 forms to get filed. And once those forms are filed, they'll send it. But it says right in your contract with the state, you have to do timely reporting, timely filing of financial status reports. If you don't, you will not get any money. So what I would like is a weekly meeting, even if it's a 5-minute phone call with Chelsea,
to talk to her and see if there's any issues we need. I called there. I've emailed over 20 times on this subject alone in the past 6 months. I've copied the commissioners 3 times. I've received a response from no one.
None whatsoever?
None. On this subject, none. I did receive a brief update, but it was inaccurate. That was in April. But on this subject, nothing. And
All right.
how about a weekly 5-minute phone call, 10 minutes, just to make sure that the grant is going along okay? I've offered to come in after hours, on the weekends, my lunch hour, because I know you're also busy, but so are we. But I come in, and if she needs help doing those forms, I can help her, if it's sister. I mean, we're more than willing to do that, but you have to communicate. Call back, return an email. Have you gotten the emails I've been sending? I sent 3 since October, stating our frustration. If you don't get the money from the state of Michigan to fund us, then it has to come out of Houghton County's budget. I don't think you want that. According to the contract, that's what it says. If I could help get those forms filed, I would. Would you want my help?
We'll adjust this at the work session.
It's gotta be done before that.
You'll see action.
Okay.
Can I get your name?
Ann Harris, of the Administrator.
Yep, try, yep.
Defenders.
Welcome from Adams Township. I just have 2 questions for the board. On item 2, resolution 26-07, support for bringing Amtrak service back up here. Is that a non-binding resolution or is that binding?
But I'm not sure I understand the implication.
Is this just more like, hey, we do support this without any?
It's non-binding.
Yeah.
So it's non, okay. And just addressing opposing House Bill 4583. That's just given your, like, how you feel about it to the state of Michigan.
That's how it works, right?
Okay. I personally, I would not have probably even brought this resolution up because as a taxpayer, I feel that it, whenever these villages come out, there's under transparency accountable for our local taxes, and also it requires stronger scrutiny, or maybe a better argument why a village should be on there or past, because it seems to me that whenever something is off from November, it just, this is how I feel. I feel like I'm just getting greased for more taxes without really having to say it, because, we're all busy, but I think we all know that the November elections happen. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shondell Samarco. I'm from Hancock, Michigan, and I wanted to address the idea of selling Canal View. I was here for the last meeting when we were talking about the sexes, and the guy waited like hours and hours to speak to us, and he explained that the federal funding for Canal View is extremely rare. It's grandfather claused in, and there are only 5 establishments for nursing homes in the state of Michigan that receive that funding. So if you sell Canal View, that funding is grandfather claused in, it will disappear with the sale. And the other thing that I wanted to address is that there's an increase in the aged community in our county. And we've got, pardon me, give me 1 second. This figure is 18.3% as far as the percentage of the county that is aged that will need those services. Like I said, there are only 5 places in the state, and once that's sold, it's gone. So are you guys still considering selling Canal View? Because you mentioned the estimate or the appraisal.
Do you want a response?
I do.
Yeah, well, it's a process that's going through. Now, if you were to poll individual commissioners, you would probably receive a very firm responses as to whether or not they're in support of selling Canal View. However, in response to the failed jail millage, it was suggested by some community members that the county should investigate county-owned assets and see if those could be sold to direct that revenue towards the jail construction. There's mixed feelings on the board about Canal View. But as part of this overall review process, you saw the review process such as it was for the transfer station and also the marina. The missing item that we need to complete for review of a Canal View is the appraisal, which is scheduled to be completed later this month. So it is and I can see where some folks might think the board is poised to sell Canal View. This is just part of a review process. There's no consensus on taking that action.
Before I came up to speak, I had been told that this is probably not something you guys are really wanting to do, but it doesn't matter what the value is financially of Canal View. We're never going to replace that asset. And like 80% of the seniors in this community depend on it. So financially, it would make no sense at all to do it. And I know that some people didn't want to vote for the jail. I voted for it, I'll just say that. But what if there's some way that we could just volunteer to bring up the funds so that you guys can not sell Canal View and save our senior citizen population? How about that? I'd be willing to pay as a taxpayer and a homeowner in this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Chrissy Sunstrong, and I'm from Portage Township. I'm a board member of the Copper Country Recycling Initiative, and I'll keep this short. We just want to thank you for recognizing International Compost Awareness Week. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to building on this with some local outreach and education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Bo LaFave. I'm a resident of Brighton Township in Dickinson County. I just wanted to come and listen to the concerns that residents and commissioners have in Houghton County. I'm a candidate for state senate seeking the Republican nomination. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Michigan, served 6 years as a state representative for Dickinson, Delta, and Menominee counties in the Michigan House of Representatives. It was also my honor and privilege to serve as Representative Markkinen's Chief of Staff and Legislative Director for almost 3 years. With regards to the jail issue, I understand the community members are finding it difficult to try to raise the revenue through a property tax increase. The citizens of the Upper Peninsula, largely the counties, have a large problem with the jails and needing more capacity. If elected to the state senate, I promise I'll do everything that I can to try to bring state tax dollars to Houghton County and the other 15 counties that need increases to their jail. So we don't have to raise property taxes necessarily as high as you may have to. And another agenda item that I thought was really important to talk about is you're seeking $500,000 to get a study to determine whether or not we can put in another crossing to Keweenaw County. I commit to you, the commissioners and the general public that have elected to the state senate, I'll do everything I can to get that $500,000 to get that study funded. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you didn't get it done before, and I'll do everything I can to get that money up to Houghton County. I'll stay after at cards, happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your patience and sticking around. Thank you. Other public comments? There we go.
Hi guys, try to keep this brief because it is very brief and we've been here a while. Thanks for giving me the 3 minutes here. I just have kind of a question. I kind of been poking around this idea of renting our boat, which we currently have a slip at Houghton County Marina, 27. By the night, no operation, no movement of the boat, kind of like a VRBO kind of scenario. infrequently, as we like to use the boat more than anything else, but, I thought it might be good to get some direction from the board on your thoughts on that, because it would be us technically making money off of having our boat at the marina. So I would like, if you have any comments or thoughts on that.
I would have to investigate, but I think we would not, the county would not allow it, and the state of Michigan, with which we're funded via the waterways, is not allowed.
Sure.
It's a great idea, and I applaud you for thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
And of course, we're only because we're a public marina. You could certainly do that in any of the private marinas on the portage.
Right.
And so I would advise you to look in that direction if you could find someplace, a private lease.
Yeah, that's what we assumed, that's why we asked.
Because, yeah.
And the second thing is just noticed, signing the marina agreement, the cost was more, sure, everything's going up, but the season's 15 days shorter. Is there a reason or any, I mean, I'm kind of like, well, we kept our boat there until the 31st, then we moved it to the Houghton waterfront until November 13th, which obviously that's well beyond people's normal boating season. But I just wanted to ask, what was the driving factor? Is it lack of use or funding? Or?
Well, I think we don't have a staff past the end of October. And then two, the rates are set by the state of Michigan for us. So we have no say on the actual.
Sure, it used to be October 31st, the end date, now it's October 15th.
Now, I'm sure you could probably work that out with the harbor master.
Yeah, I was just curious if you.
But does he work till the end of October, or is he are we done October 15th? Because it would be an issue of we have to have it staffed to have anyone there.
I think the biggest thing on that, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Sure.
Was shutting that down with the new bathroom facilities and everything we have to drain down and everything we gotta take apart. And the new washer facilities we got, there's a couple of days of winterizing that. And we wanna make sure that we get it done in a timely fashion, we don't get nothing froze.
Sure. And I signed the agreement, so it's not like I didn't have a choice not to do it. I appreciate your time very much.
And thank you for using the marina.
Craig Beckela from Osceola and Franklin Township.
Okay.
Thank you. Other public comments?
So on Saturday, the League of Women Voters was delighted to host our county prosecutor Dan Helmer to speak for the League of Women Voters in the Copper Country. And one of the things he talked about was something I had never realized before. He said that when they make a plea with someone, the date of the sentencing is set by the Michigan Department of Corrections, and that's that individual who's in our county jail and has pled guilty for the crimes that they're accused of. They then have to wait to be sentenced. And the average time that they stay in the Houghton County jail waiting for sentencing is 99 days. So for 99 days, somebody who has pled guilty and is going to prison sits as a guest of the county on average 99 days. And I believe he said there were about 8 people in that list. My jaw's on the floor. I thought I would share that with you. The other thing that Prosecutor Helmer said that I found very interesting was that he had expressed, and he said this on Copper Country today, if you saw it, if you listened to his interview with Todd Van, which was well worth listening to. I recommend it to you. It's available on all your podcast apps. He talked about that if it were up to him, he would like the jail built right here next to the courthouse. So I wanted to talk to him about that because that's something that's been investigated before and voted down before, et cetera. But I actually don't think he has looked at our history of our plans, but still the interesting part was that he commented that with the 3 courts, the scheduling problems are significant. And that because we share Judge Bullitt with other jurisdictions and there's travel and there's different counties that are in on what those schedules will be, they're at the mercy of not just the Department of Corrections, but these other scheduling problems. And so he's very concerned about back and forth to an offsite facility and all of this scheduling and how it would interact with other operations. So I don't know the details of that, but I thought it was significant enough because it really impacts all of our jail discussions to know. We had brought in the 2025 jail meetings, Judge Donatella was present, and we had a number of things brought to our attention about how the judiciary is impacted by the jail plans, but we never heard these things before, so maybe that was a missing piece, was some of the input that comes from that side of our judicial system.
Thank you. Other public comments? Is there anyone on Zoom? Alex?
No hands up currently.
Public comments? Thank you. Under announcements, just inform the community on the request for agenda items. There's an official email address that you can send those to. That does not automatically guarantee that you will be on the next agenda. Most agenda items requests are reviewed by the work session and eventually, hopefully soon, quickly, but in some cases there is a need to push that off to the next meeting of the board. Tonight's agenda is a good example of how we have to, and even this agenda does not represent a couple of weighty topics that will be brought up on the May agenda. So trying to ease that process for you to get your agenda submissions to us. Is there a motion on item P?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Karen and supported by Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
To adjourn the meeting.